I really don't know.
So after the tornado went through and the police and maybe emergency workers, in the first, like till you got out of there, how many emergency persons had responded to this particular neighborhood?
Actually, when I got out of here, there's probably 2 policemen. That was about it.
Yeah, because there was many other neighborhoods and they could only reach so far.
Right. And then, actually, a friend of mine that lives about 10 miles from here in the Grove Oak area, he was at his house and he was watching the weather and then watching his phone, and he began to see the hook echo, and they were talking about it. He looked up, and about a mile, he could see it, like 3 tornadoes came together. And so he, later that night, he came over here because he knew that it had to smash this place, and so he said he was over about 2 hours. Kept trying to call me on the cell phone. Who knows where. And so he was pretty traumatized from that because he, when he got over here talking about the personnel, he found some folks over there that they hadn't hauled out, that had broken legs and stuff. So he was concerned when that happened. He's like, man, how about my buddy and his 5 kids? And so he stayed over here in the dark for a while, and then that next morning he came up and he had his arms out crying because he didn't know if I was alive or not. So, a lot of good folks. As far we just walked up. We just walked up to my neighbor's house and got in his truck.
Camera's sake. Did I hear you say that you came out of the house and you were going to go down to the front creek, but then you felt the Lord say, no, go to the back creek?
Yeah, it was like just stop me in my tracks. It was like, no, go to the back creek.
And over there we see what happened at the front creek.
Yeah.
Right.
And so if you could just swing the camera, Timmy, and show the front creek.
And that culvert up there is the one that used to be the bridge. Is that right? That culvert up in there is what used to be the bridge?
Yeah, I know. I had to, just so there's no misconceptions or misunderstandings, that tile was down there, but about a year ago, it had washed about 100 feet from there. See what it was? It's an 8-foot tile, and we had some tremendous rain, and actually, the week or a few days before it happened, actually about a week, I'd poured a footer, put rebar in, and I bought some big 12-inch blocks, and the guy was going to help me. We were going to lay the blocks and pour them full of concrete and stuff. But anyway, got up that morning, the tiles down, all the blocks gone, and so I was just waiting for the right time. I'm glad that. So for the past year, we've been disconnected. We've been having to walk, or occasionally I'll drive my I had a 2-wheel drive truck across, but I've torn it up so many times I quit doing it. And so my plans was to build like a bridge there, a wooden covered bridge or something, which I'm glad I haven't done it yet. And but anyway, it's still a tremendous feat. I mean, it was down in the creek, but about 100 feet this way. And so
I misinformed you guys.
that's okay. That's all right.
Actually wasn't underneath the ground.
It wasn't underneath the ground, but it was down in the creek. And like I said, initially that was just a brief. Before we even knew the tornado was here, that was a brief consideration of getting in. And my wife was like, "No, I'm not getting in it." But once the tornado was coming, it was, of course, no way I was getting it. But I didn't, I was headed towards the front creek, but didn't know exactly where I was going. I didn't know, just like, move,
let's go down to the creek.
Gave me instructions to come and we followed in. And then back there, and I could probably email Lance too. A friend of mine, he actually gets contracts with FEMA. He's part of the main cleanup people, but about a week ago he sent me a picture when he flew over this area. You see, when he flew over, the hair stood up on the back of his head and he began to get chills because he said, you can tell it's sun by looking around, but he said where y'all escaped to, it's like everything else on this side, after it, before it, was just smashed. He said it looks like God just had his hand right there on the top of y'all. And so he's got it on his Facebook page, but I got the picture. I couldn't tell. I mean, you could tell a little bit, but he says when you're flying over it, you can see it.
Want to go down?
Yeah. Down where?
Down to where they were.
Oh, it's up to you all.
Oh, it's pretty awesome. You guys see it.
I want to see where God put his hand down.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
You can get thumbprint or something.
Our family has memorized Psalm 91.
Loves me.
Thousands of bodies.
10,000 in my right, 10,000 in my right.
So this didn't have anything.
A lot of the trees on the side of the road too, they're going to come pick up.
When we clean up different places, we've been running chainsaws, but they've been getting us back.
Whoa!
So that affects how we clean up.
I guess.
Have you ever seen a tree die down?
What about the pressure and wind when you guys down there?
I personally didn't feel one. My wife did. It was actually sucking her in the opposite direction. And a lot of people that was found out of their houses were not to be found, headed in that direction, and they were found like 100 feet behind the house.